Happy Tuesday. It's a glorious Tuesday. I have everything to talk about. Going to talk about the last president of the USSR going away, but I chose not to. I'm choosing this one because I think it's the empty promises. Now, this is from The Hill, so take it with a grain of salt. They're kind of biased, but not biased. They have both sides. So take it with a grain of salt. House conservatives prep plans to impeach Biden. If there was ever a president to be impeached, it would be Biden, in my humble, honest opinion. He's not even a good type of corrupt. He's just out in the open, keeps on sniffing kids. Highly racist, but that's not an impeachable offense. But going after your political opponents is not a good look. And then he's going after Republicans, saying you can't be American and be a Republican. I know I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he's saying. He's saying in order to be American, be pro-cop, pro-law and order, you have to be Democrat. You can't be right-wing. You can't be American, be defunding the FBI. Democrats are pro-law and order. He was awfully quiet during the 2020 election. Not 2020 election, but the 2020 Summer of Love riots. He had his VP setting up a fundraiser to bail out protesters that were arrested for rioting. I'm just saying. I mean, people have memory holes, but I don't. Let's get on with this story. Republicans hoping to seize control of the House in November are already setting their sights on what it is. For many of them, top priority next year, impeaching President Biden. But here's the issue. We're going to have Harris to be president, and is Vice President Harris a better choice than Biden? I mean, it's an honest question. I mean, is she going to be better, or is she going to be like the governor of New York, being 10 times worse? A number of rank-and-file conservatives have already introduced impeachment articles in the current Congress against the president. They accuse Biden of committing high crimes in his approach a range of issues touching on the border enforcement, coronavirus pandemic, and the withdrawal of the U.S. troops in Afghanistan. Those are pretty hot topics. What was it, almost a year ago? A little past a year ago, when those brave American soldiers died because he didn't want to protect them, because he just wanted to guard the airport. So suicide bombs went off. Disgraceful. I mean, at least we're out of Afghanistan. I mean, I gotta take the positive side of it. I just wish the withdrawal was better and more organized. Those resolutions never had a chance of seeing the light of day, with Democrats holding a narrow control of the lower chamber, but with Republicans widely expected to win the House majority in the midterms. Many of those same conservatives want to tap in their new potential powers to oust a president they deem unfit. Some will like to make it a first order of business. I have constantly said President Biden should be impeached for intentionally opening our border and making America less safe. Rep. Bob Good, Republican of Virginia? I think it's Virginia. Doesn't really matter. Congress has a duty to hold President accountable for this and any other failures of his constitutional responsibility, so a new Republican majority must be prepared to aggressively conduct oversight on day one. Conservative impeachment drive is reminiscent of that was orchestrated by the liberals 4 years ago, as Democrats took control of the House in 2019 under then President Trump. At the time, a small handful of vocal progressives wanted to impeach Trump, largely over the accusation that he obstructed a Justice Department probe into Russia's ties to his 2016 campaign. The idea was repeatedly rejected by Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, not at least out of fear that would alienate voters in a tough battleground district. The tide turned when the whistleblower accused Trump of pressuring foreign powers to find dirt on his political opponents, a charge that's brought the centrist Democrats onto onto the impeachment train, with moderates on board. Plus, he launched a formal impeachment inquiry in September 2019. 8 months after taking the Speaker gavel, 3 months later, the House impeached Trump on 2 counts related to abusing power. Maybe because she's also on the money train we call Ukraine. You have Joe Biden admitting that he fired a prosecutor in Ukraine because he was investigating the oil company that Hunter Biden sat on. He bragged about it, holding financial aid, and he wasn't going to get the financial aid to Ukraine unless Ukraine fired someone. If that's not corruption, I don't know what is. And unfortunately, Trump wanted that to be investigated to make sure there was no smoke or no fire, and then he got impeached over it. Disgusting. We get to be corrupt, but Trump doesn't get to be corrupt. We get to hold financial aid to Ukraine, but Trump doesn't. Very not hypothetical, but hypocritical. Seems that's the most things that happens in politics. Let's see here. This year, heading into the midterms, dozens of conservatives have either endorsed Biden's impeachment formally or have suggested they're ready to support it. At least 8 resolutions to impeach Biden have been offered since he took office, 3 related to his handling to the migrant surge at the southern border, 3 targeting his management with the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan last year, 1 denouncing the eviction moratorium designed to help renters during the pandemic, and still another connected to his overseas business dealing with his son, Hunter Biden. The proposal will expire at the end of this Congress, but some sponsors have already vowing to revisit them quickly next year. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, the lead sponsor of 4 of the impeachment resolution, is among them. She believes Joe Biden should be impeached as soon as he was sworn in, so of course she wants it happen soon as possible. Nick Dyer, a Green spokesman, said Monday in an email. A noisy impeachment push from the GOP right flank could create headaches for Rep. Kevin McCarthy, California Republican leader in line to be the Speaker. God help us if he's Speaker of the House. I don't think he has what it takes. I don't think he has the balls to do what it takes. I'm not exactly going to say he's a rhino, but he's pretty close to one. The other party brass, just as the 2024 presidential cycle heats up. On one hand, impeaching Biden could alienate moderate voters and hurt the GOP at the polls, as it was the case for 1998 following the impeachment of President Clinton. Already the GOP, like Senator Mitch McConnell, are throwing cold water on the impeachment talk, suggesting it could damage Republicans politically in the midterms. All right, so we're talking about a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky, lying about it. And we're talking about being incompetent. Totally incompetent. Word salad Joe Biden. Not to mention Ashley Biden diary that doesn't paint him in a very good picture. The two are not related, but I can see comparisons. I mean, is this going to be coming forward? So if another Republican takes office, are they going to impeach him just for the Republicans to impeach the next Democrat? I mean, I'm more worried about that than GOP losing votes in the midterms, to be honest. On the other hand, ignoring conservatives' impeachment entries might spark a revolt from the Republican base, keen to the average Democrats' two impeachments of Trump's, who remained mostly popular national figure in the GOP. McCarthy knows well the perils of angering the far right, or just the right, or the MAGA people. The MAGA people aren't terrorists. They're not domestic terrorists. They're not extremes. They just want America to be great. And they have some legitimate concerns. I don't care what Joe Biden wants to call them. The Freedom Caucus has nudged Speaker John Boehner, Republican Iowa, into an early retirement in 2015, deeming him insufficient conservative, then prevented McCarthy from replacing him because forgot what his name is. The Eddie Munster person. Get him confused with Paul Ryan. There we go, Paul Ryan. McCarthy office did not respond Monday for the request for comment, challenging facing Republican leaders in the GOP-controlled House will be demonstrated an aggressive posture towards the administration to appease conservatives without alienating moderate voters in the process. Rep. Ellis Franken, I know that's an American name and I can't pronounce it. Republican New York appears to be walking that line. Last summer, she called Biden unfit to serve as president. I agree, but stopped short of endorsing his impeachment. Stefanik office did not respond for a request for comment. Another strategy from the GOP leaders may adopt to impeach high-ranking members of the administration, but not the president himself. Several resolutions have been introduced to just do that, separately targeting Vice President Harris, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and Attorney General Merrick Garland. Let's go for the full sweep. Just go for them all. McCarthy, during a visit to the southern border earlier this year, floated the idea of impeaching Mayorkas as he found to be derelict in his job of securing the border, and the concept had plenty of support among conservatives. That's probably going to be the safer approach. Go after his administration staff. I don't know if impeaching the vice president is going to be the smart move here. Mayorkas and Garland have purposely made our country less safe, politicizing their departments in the violation of the rule of law. Some instances, they have instructed their subpoenas to disobey our laws. That is unacceptable. Rep. Andy Brigg, Republican Arizona, who has endorsed numbers of impeachment resolutions this year, said in an email, "Next January, I expect the House to pursue my impeachment articles against Mayorkas as well as Congresswoman Mary Taylor Greene, impeachment articles that I co-sponsor against as well." Oh, I get no, never mind. I understand. I can't read, and it's really, really not written well. So, impeachment articles against Mayorkas as well as articles of impeachments from Congresswoman Mary Taylor Greene's that I co-sponsor against Attorney General Merrick Garland, Briggs added. So it's in support of MTG. Still, conservatives like Briggs and the former head of the Freedom Caucus also want to go straight to the top by impeaching Biden, and it remains unclear if anything less than that will appease the GOP restive right flank. I don't know. One is expected to grow next year with the arrival of a number of pro-Trump conservatives vowing to take on anyone they consider to be part of the Washington's political establishment. I mean, Washington, D.C. does need a good cleaning. Not just politicians, but the administration staff as well. Some Republicans said the decision whether to endorse impeachment next year will simply hinge on events. Rep. Ralph Norman, for instance, has endorsed 2 impeachment resolutions this cycle, related to Afghanistan withdrawal, but has made no decision yet to support the impeachment articles next year with Republicans in the majority, according to the spokesperson, Austin Livingston. You will wait to see what those efforts look like, specifically how they align with Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, Livingston said, referring to the sections outlined by Congress impeachment powers. But others are eager to use GOP majority to hold Biden's feet to the fire, and that energy does not appear to be fleeting, particularly when it comes to the border crisis, which very well remain a hot topic 6 months from now. Rep. Mary Miller, a strong Trump supporter who recently won Illinois' primary over more moderate Ronnie Davis, said Biden should be removed for purposely ignoring our immigration laws, which is pretty big. Biden and Harris has failed their most basic duty, Miller said, which is ensuring the safety of American people through the security of our borders. Hey, we heard talks about this. We heard talks about impeaching Obama. What is an empty promise? A promise that is either not going to be carried out, worthless, or meaningless. Pie in the sky, pipe dream, daydream, eggs and moonshine, empty wish, jam tomorrow, migraine, Riviere, X-Dome, end of the rainbow. Now, while I do believe in my honest opinion that Joe Biden, Vice President Harris should be removed from office, and a whole sweep of the administrative staff should be removed from office, unfortunately, it's not as easy just to impeach them and get them removed from office. It really is not, because the House is going to impeach them. They're probably going to vote yes. It goes to the Senate, and the Senate will determine if their guilt and the punishment. And the issue there is that it doesn't always play out. The Democrats learned this when they impeached Trump twice. They found him. So the grand jury, of which the House did the resolution to impeach, and the Senate actually had a real trial, didn't really find much fault into it, and let him off, and probably kind of slapped his hand. The same thing they did with Bill Clinton. And that's the issue. I mean, when you're dealing with politics, nothing's clear and dry. The other issue with politics, if the Republicans just get rid of Biden and Harris, it's going to look like posturing, or not posturing, going after political opponents, which is the same thing that Attorney General Merrick Garland is looking at right now. So you got to play chess with these people. You got to play 3D chess with these people. I think the best approach is to go after the administration staff, as in the Department of Defense, Secretary of State, the Attorney General. We should start there and see what the evidence or the case, how that case works out. And maybe by then, Joe Biden steps down, Vice President Harris becomes president. And what you know, it's election cycle all over again. And we get Trump back in office. And I'm not saying that's going to fix everything. That's the direction that it should go in my honest opinion. And I'm going to end it there. I'm definitely interested to know what your responses are. Leave a comment down below. Please smash the like and subscribe button on any of all platforms, or just the platform you're currently on. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.